friends, it's your art teacher, Miss Barnett, and in this week's lesson titled Patterned Illusions, we looked at how artists use pattern and symmetry to create mind-boggling, surprising images. So we are going to make our very own gridded pattern illusion today, and to do that you're going to need a 7" by 7" square of paper. You're going to want a ruler because we're going to measure today, a pencil, and then I've cut some strips of paper into 1" sections to create our pattern, and then we're going to go in and make these into like whatever shape we want. So once you've gotten your things together, go ahead, meet me back here, and I'll show you how to make a grid. Here we go, guys. Before we get started today, I want us to plan. So I want you to think about what shapes you're going to use in your grid pattern. What colors are you going to use? And what pattern are you planning to create? To practice this, we can color in some squares on using construction paper or crayons to plan. And I'll show you how to plan really quick. And then I'll show you how to make your squares, your grid. Here we go. All right, kiddos, I've got my stiff paper, my ruler, and my pencil, and I've also got a practice paper. So I'm going to show you how to practice and plan for this project. So what we're going to do is taking our ruler, and the same step over here when you make your grid. You're going to line up your ruler, and every inch, you're going to make a mark. And there's that one. And you'll slide your ruler down about halfway. And one more guiding line. Little dot is all you need, right on that number. You need 3 lines, or 2 points to make a line, and 3 points to make a straight line. Then you just line up your ruler. Okay, now let's do our lines this way with our marks. Halfway down. Don't worry if it's not perfectly straight. Do your best. We're not machines. We are people. People make mistakes. Just keep trying. Now that I've got those lines, I'm going to line up those 3 points like we did with the first set of lines. And that, my friends, is how you draw a grid. So this is our practice paper. And to practice, I have already cut some colors. I've got red, orange, green, and yellow. Okay, kiddos, we got cut off in the last video. So I've pulled, this is my practice piece. I've pulled the colors that I'm going to use for my paper strips. Red, yellow, orange, and green. And then the next step that we're going to do on our practice paper is find the center of our grid. Let's count our rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's count our columns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now I went ahead and found the center here. Let me show you how I did that. So I knew that there were 1, 2, 3 on this side and 1, 2, 3 on this side. So this was going to be the row that was going to be the middle. And then doing the same thing vertically, I knew that these 3 columns and these 3 columns would divide the paper. So I put a little X here on my center to find where the center is going to be. Now, what we're going to do is we're just going to mark our paper where we're going to put the colors. Starting from the center, and remember, we're going to work out vertically and horizontally. We're not worrying about the shapes that we're going to put in yet, just the colors. And this will be our map. And I'm just going to keep working and you can watch me as I speed up the tape. All right, now I've got my color map done. If you noticed, I did make a couple of mistakes while I was doing this. That's okay. I know that if I make a mistake, like I missed one right here, I can just go over it with the marker. That's kind of the beautiful thing about practicing before we get started. Now, I'm going to make a grid on this paper, and I'll do that time lapse since I've already shown you here. And then I'll show you how to cut these guys. In fact, I might go ahead and do that now. So to cut, we're going to cut these into 1-inch squares, that way they fit perfectly. You might want to just take one, line it up at the edge of your ruler, like so. And just make a mark for the inches. Okay. Then what I'm going to do, to save myself some time here, I'm going to take a pretty decent, I want to take some, but not so many that my scissors won't cut through. I'm going to line them up perfectly because I want this to be as close together as possible, and I'm just going to snip these squares. Now, you might not have construction paper at your house, and that's okay too. Let me show you another way to do this project. You get the idea. I'm just cutting these until I get the shapes that I want. If you do not have construction paper, that's okay. You might want to use a tool like this. This is just a general purpose template. I got it at Walmart, I believe. And we can pick a shape that is going to fit here. And then we could use these to color in our shapes. All right, guys, I'm going to show you, we're going to speed up the time again, and I will show you what to do when we're ready to get started with the next step. All right, guys, I've got my grid, I've got my colored squares ready, I've got my plan. Before we get started though, I wanted to talk about how to modify and change these squares into different shapes. So we could do, let's keep it simple. Let's do just triangles, squares, and circles for this project. Squares are pretty easy. If you want to make a triangle, you can cut from corner to corner here. And that'll give you a nice shaped triangle that will fit pretty well in this space. To make a circle, you're just going to take one of your squares and very carefully, try to do a little bit better job than I did here, round off the corners just by turning the circle or the paper in your hand, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so I'm going to start speeding up the tape and filling in my plan from here. Remember, if I put a shape here or here, it's going to repeat in the same direction and in both places, both vertically and horizontally. Just like that. Okay. I'll be gluing as well. Remember, dot, dot, not a lot. Here we go. All right, kiddos, here is my completed project using grids to create a horizontal and vertical symmetry, our patterned illusion. So I hope you have just as much fun creating your patterned illusion as I did today. I had a lot of fun and I think it came out really beautiful. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye, friends.